What's going on, Aquarius, my Aquarius Creative Collective? This is your Burning Questions reading, and we are going to be diving into the question of how can we rewrite this story for ourselves? So I'm going to dive right in here, Aquarius. The readings so far have been incredible. Do check out your Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. They will probably give you a more complete picture of this story that you're retelling or rewriting. So I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space. And I ask that it is a safe space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. Okay, amazing. So this is the Wisdom of the Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. The links are in the description below for any of the decks that I use today, if you are so inclined. Okay, Spirit, what messages do you have for Aquarius? Loyal heart, all that glitters. Mending. There was another sign that had that. I'm hearing Libra, so I'm assuming that that's the one. Loyal heart, all that glitters, and mending. I love this card so much. This definitely strikes me as like counterpart energy. And this could just be a coming together of things for you internally too. And then we have mending. I got this image just now of you. I heard put down your weapons and just not like literal ones. I'm talking about like figurative ones that we use to kind of push people away or to keep defenses built up. And then this all that glitters card, what I got from that and the mending card was it's almost like you're trading in. So I got this image of someone putting down a sword, right? Or a wand, or this like baton type thing, and then picking up a sewing needle that was stitching something together with others. So it's almost like putting down the idea that maybe you have to write the story on your own. And I'm hearing the pen is mightier than the sword, and like that's what you're realizing. And then you're picking up this sort of what could also be a weapon, right? Like sewing needles are sharp as hell, but it's like this beautiful way that you're bringing this energy together with other people. And that's very Aquarian 11th house energy for sure. This is, so 3 plus 5 is 8. This reminds me of the strength card, that some of the vibes that I'm getting off of it in the traditional Rider-Waite. 1 plus 6 in the traditional Rider-Waite is 7, which is the Chariot card. And then in this one, 5, 6. So 6 is the Lovers. 7. We have another 7 card. That's my bad. Yeah. So that's where it's like, I'm feeling there's like motion forward, but that image of putting down a sword and picking up a sewing needle to mend is standing out big time. And I mean, obviously there's like the sewing needle here. That's what they're doing, right? They're doing that, but it's almost like I'm getting this image of like stitching a quilt together. I have no idea what the process involves. I want to purchase quilts. I love them. They also remind me so much of my granny's house. So, but it just is a comfort. And I'm thinking in the process of that, quilts are a source of comfort, but they're also a way that, craftspeople were able to tell stories, historically speaking, right? You could tell a family history on a blanket. And I think that that's where it's almost like I'm getting this like ancestral vibe a little bit, but more than that, I'm getting this sort of idea that you're stitching together a new story piece by piece. Loyal heart and Knight of Swords. Hanged Man. So Neptune and Pisces energy. think this is you getting an assertive understanding, and an assertive understanding meaning that it's like you're comfortable taking action now that you know. And I think that you've been on pause because of energies like this 7 of Wands and 5 of Wands. Like you're defensive because of this kind of like BS, right? Like, you're watching it. It's almost like you're watching from the sidelines and then they turn on you. Like, and it's that kind of energy of like having to push back the crowds. And not because of the crowds, but like, how is this coming through? How do I word this? This is like, you're not being pushed by it's not pushing back crowds because of admiration. It's pushing back crowds because there's like an overwhelm and you don't want to be part of a crowd. Like you're feeling claustrophobic. So it could be that you're outgrowing something as well. And I have the 6 of Cups here, which does definitely speak to that past vibe, past life as well. But more so here, I'm getting the past, like rewriting the past a little bit, or you're seeing the past far more clearly than you did before, at least. Yeah, you're seeing the past more clearly than you did before. So there's 6 of Wands, King of Swords, and the 9 of Swords. There's this like worry that's been permeating things. And I don't think it's worry about like you being able to handle it, because I think you're good. I think that you're good with you. The loyal heart and this sort of like togetherness energy here with the strength card in the 8, that to me is like, you're good. This is more so the noise from other people that you've been worried about. Maybe letting other people down or how people might see you. And the quilt again, there's the quilt. I don't know why this is such a big thing. The quilt energy and just the idea of what mattered before. And I think of the 6 of Wands as like what matters in this sense, because it's like celebration and victory. But it's like, this is a celebration and victory that you're doing with other people. Like it's your people, it's your community. This is your family. This is your, kinship. This is that kind of connection energy. So it's like what was important to you has kind of shifted. You're very clear, but there's a way that you're hanging on to worry about it. You're hanging on to a smidgen of worry here, Aquarius. But I'm getting this vibe of like, is it really that easy? Like I just heard that in my head. Like, is it really that easy? Just, deciding what to put onto a new quilt. And I like, yes, the answer is yes. But first you have to put down the thing, like the defensiveness. You have to put down the defensive behavior and like the interpretations of things. It's like you're putting too much work into the ideas about things that matter, all that glitters, like the stuff that you thought mattered, not mattering. And you're coming back into this awareness within yourself and moving forward. So there's 8 of Pentacles here. Spirit, can you clarify this rewriting the story for Aquarius, please? Thank you so much. Page of Cups. Four of Swords. And the Lover's card. I'm not surprised to see that out. I got that vibe. Especially thinking that was the Lover's card. And on the bottom is the Ace of Wands. Well, the good news is that you go from the 9 of Swords to the 4 of Swords, which is kind of like, that's like definite healing to me. It's showing up in that way. But we all have choices though, right? The Lovers is showing up here that we have choices about what we can do next. And that I think your highest choice right now, Aquarius, is to move towards that which inspires you. What feels inspiring? And it's not just about what inspires a specific action. I say feelings because the Page of Cups is here. What feels inspiring to move towards, and what feels like a breath of fresh air? What feels like a deep breath? I think about days off, like, so for example, this morning I woke up and I slept in an extra hour and a half, which was like bliss. It was so nice. It was so nice. and I thought about, this is what that like that rest, like find the people that feel like this, okay? Where you wake up slow and you are, you're stirring in bed. You don't have to get up yet. You're still kind of tired, but you're just like, oh man, I have a whole day in front of me. I have a whole day and I get to do all of these amazing things with it. I'm so excited for it. And I'm so grateful for all of these reasons. And then you see the light starting to come in because it's, the sun's up earlier now. And you're just in this place of genuine awe at the day ahead. And you're so pumped and excited. But there's a groundedness to it because you're curled up in this safe place with, a really comfortable duvet. And you're really just reveling in that moment. You're reveling in that moment, and like the warmth of the bed, you're like, oh, this is so nice. That place. Find people that feel like that kind of warm. And that is like, I'm getting that's like the inspiration piece, like that kind of warmth. Find people that are warmth, that are warming. Warming, I don't even know what that means. I'm thinking about, there's an episode of Glennon Doyle's podcast where she talked about where her sister was talking to Martha Beck in the episode about how do we know what feels like, what's honest and what's true. And it's like, what feels warm? What feels warm? Because warm is authenticity. And, it's such Wands energy, right? The King and Queen of Wands is like authenticity and, being fully alive. It's authentic expression. It's supportive. It's supporting yourself. It's self-expression and knowing what you want. And that warmth, like what feels warm right now, Aquarius? Who feels warm to you? And moving towards those things and those people, not because you want the warmth. You don't need you don't need them to keep you warm. This is about understanding what's true for you, and you do that check and go within, right? Spirit, what else can you tell me about this Lovers and Ace of Wands here? Is this love? Well, I think this is definitely an ending and then a celebration, and there's wisdom. Oh my gosh. Okay. Literal reading of the cards. Woo, putting this on pause for a second here. To me, this is a choice, right? Aquarius, there's a choice that you have. And I think that this is Spirit trying to guide you towards the choice that feels inspiring to you, that feels like rest, that feels like someone you can get off of the hamster wheel around, right? Like, I don't know how to word it, how this is coming in for me. Some folks, we feel this busy energy around, right? We feel this kind of like need to keep doing. We always have to say something, or, we can't just have boundaries and have them be respected. They are constantly needing to be reassessed, readdressed, reintegrated. The re's are there, right? We need to have them be put into place all the time. It's always this moving energy, this buzzing, right? I often talk about ADHD in terms of like, there's like bees in my brain that just buzz, and like, it's hard for me to relax. And when I get into that place, I really have to do my own energy work and all of that stuff. But it's like, that's how we can sometimes experience relationships, because the relationship isn't predicated on the idea that there's rest and ease between two people. It's predicated on the idea of like a constant doing, because that's what the relationship has been deemed or named as the purpose of, or for one or both people. So the other person may experience that like buzz in the head, like, oh, I have to constantly keep doing, and da 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 da, like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, da, da, da. Like, there's a difference between busy and busy as a couple, busy as a partnership, and like the busy energy of needing to always be doing something. And this, I'm not talking about working on things, because that's a completely different energy. I mean, I'm talking about like when you ask for something to be done once, it's just done, and you don't have to continuously fight to be heard or justify why that thing is important to you. If it's a really big need that you have, right? You don't have to consistently say like, well, this is why I need it. And here's my PowerPoint presentation as to why for the 400th time, I just need this one little thing done because it makes everything else go smoothly. And sometimes it's little things, right? It's little things that can become huge things. But I think this is saying that buzz energy, right? Go for the thing that makes you feel like rest. Go for the things and go for the people. Go towards the people. Bring the people into your life in romantic relationships, in friendships, right? Bring those things in that are really going to make you feel like you're finding someone who you can rest with, who feels like rest. Because rest is not just rest as in sleep, it's peace, right? You want peace in your relationships, Aquarius. That's really, it is accomplished through boundaries. It is accomplished through boundaries, right? Yesterday's Alchemical Book Club was about boundaries. This whole process is accomplished through them. So that book may be worth checking out. I'm going to put a little card up here to link to that in the if you want to check that out, I would recommend it. And I just get this vibe, though, that there's this peace that you've been looking for. And I think that this is the universe saying, Aquarius, to go towards the warmth, but to remember too that you have a spark inside of you. And the quote that's coming to mind is, don't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Like, you don't have to do that. You can give that up, right? Like you can give that up. It's safe. It's safe for you to do that, boo. And I feel like you're getting that. You really are getting that, Aquarius. The reason why is that we have the 10 of Swords, the wheel, so Jupiter energy. And I get that. So Jupiter is an expansion energy, but I feel like we're not expanding on the things gone. We're not expanding on the overness of things. We're expanding on the celebration and wisdom. We're expanding on the celebration and wisdom here, which is what's bringing in. I feel like this is where that you're stitching this beautiful new quilt for yourself. And it's really happening. I'm getting inner child stuff here, especially with Jupiter coming in. Here too, that it's like you're starting to pull this together for yourself. What else do you have for my Aquarians in terms of rewriting this story, Spirit? The Tower, yeah. I feel like this is a whole new way of life for you. It's not unfamiliar. Like, you could feel it coming, and it's not like it's going to be like just like dropping in. Like, it's not like, dropping down from a plane somewhere into your consciousness. This is a process that's happened for a while, but I feel like this is a completely different way of life. And the thing that I think about is, how well would the people that knew me 5 years ago recognize me now? And you don't want to use that as the metric of like, how shocked are they going to be? Which is like possibly an Aquarian, thing where like there's all the Uranian energy is like innovate always. And it's not like that though. I get this feeling though that it's like growth, like, how much have I changed in the past 5 years? Am I proud of that? Like, sitting back and reflecting on that. And then let's look at the next 5. Like, what about the next 5? How do I want that to be? And I think it's understanding these kind of splits that show up where you do that reflection. And I think the Tower is you more so, it's a new way of you doing things. But I think you're surprising yourself with how good it feels, with how capable you are, and with the way that you just are letting things flow far more, Aquarius. Letting things flow far more. Whoa. Can I get a couple other messages here for Aquarius Spirit on rewriting this story? All 3? Okay. So we have 9 of Wands, Strength, and the Devil. Yeah. 9 of Wands, Strength, and then we also have the Devil. This signifies to me more that you're giving up on punishing yourself. You're ceasing to punish yourself for these things, Aquarius. And I think you're understanding what the difference is between like hurting yourself is and real boundaries that come from a place of strength and confidence, right? This is the Strength card here, 5 and 3, 8. 8 is the Strength card. Oh my gosh, I don't know why that was so hard. Wow. But right, this is you stepping into that understanding. This is also you connecting in a 3D sense. This is you connecting in a 3D sense with your eternal self. The Magician also has this over their head. And I think that this is sort of the manifestation of the 3D, 5D split between how we manifest in the world, right? I think that this is you remembering that there's this tangible thing that happens or starts to happen when you make these shifts and you start to understand that you can stitch together a really, really beautiful thing for yourself that is not based on or needs or is, it's not facilitated by a series of towers. Other people's BS. You don't need it, Aquarius. You absolutely do freaking not. You don't. And it's just, I think that you're starting to see this more. I think you see it. You have seen it. But this is just integrating the now what, right? The now what. And I think that you're really giving up on situations and giving up. I think that you're choosing you're choosing in a way that is far more aligned with your highest and best good. So you don't have to carry this stuff around all the time. And I think that the story that's really being rewritten here is one of how you're seeing yourself, but how you're letting other people relate to you, and how you're letting other people relate to you, because that's not a benign process. That's one that we actively participate in. Like we actively participate in, right? And the devil here is more so, you're not lying to yourself anymore. I get that the energy off of this is you're not lying to yourself about this. You're very clear, and you're releasing the limitations, right? You're not like attached to the outcome, because you understand that when it comes to boundaries, you're not attached to an outcome. When you ask people to respect specific boundaries and to honor who you are, and you make these requests, you can't be attached to an outcome, because it's not something that you just want to happen. Your boundary is your boundary. I hope I'm explaining this well, Aquarius, but it's something it's taken me a long time to learn. And now more than ever, I understand and just know, like it's a knowing. Being attached to the outcome is what we talk about when we talk about manifestations. Detachment is what we talk about when we talk about manifestations. When we're talking about boundaries, it's a whole other ballgame. And I almost get that you've misplaced this idea of attachment to outcome to boundaries and attachment to outcome to manifestations. Like they just got flipped. 2-1-2-1 was just on the time. But I think that this is you no longer really paying mind to those things, right? This is literally rewriting patterns and habits. And I think that this is confirmation from the universe, if this reading is resonating for you, that this shit is happening like right now. Like this is going on as we speak. And I think that you are seeing this. And I don't think that this process is happening necessarily. It could be. But what I say that, I mean like, you're articulating something new for yourself as well. Like there's a way that this is something you've left behind. So it's not about looking back, because you're clear and you're now like it's the now what, right? And I think the universe is like, well, here, I'm going to show you what now. Like I'm going to give you that what now. And I think it's going to bring you a lot of joy. Yeah. 9 of Cups and Judgment, and the 2 of Wands. So some Pluto energy here, Aquarius, Pluto energy, but I think this is ultimately you're able to plan for the best case scenario, right? You're able to plan for the best case scenario now, because you understand the mechanics of how that arrives, and how what role your perspective plays in that, what role you play in that, right? So what a reading, Aquarius. Holy crap. In terms of signs, I mentioned Neptune, Pisces, Leo, 5th house, Gemini, and the Lovers card here. That's also Mercury energy. And we also have the Wheel and Jupiter, which is Sagittarian and Pisces energy. 9th house, 12th house can be split depending on which way you look at it. We also have Virgo in the 6th house here. And the Tower is Mars, traditionally speaking, in terms of the 1st house in Aries. But I also get that it's Pluto energy. Same thing with Judgment. So it's like 2 different kinds of awareness, right? One is a bit like, it's like jumping into a cold lake, and Judgment is like the dream that you have that foretells something. Like it's like a different kind of shift and change. Yeah, and that is both are different types of Pluto energy. And transformation energy. I was going to say Cattern. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine that? Like an astrological calendar with cats. I need this in my life. If there's somebody listening who's like, hey, I could do that, let's connect. That would be amazing. Capricorn. Capricorn, and that is 10th house as well. And we also have the Strength card in Leo, which is 5th house. So there you have it, friends. I'm going to pull from the Miracles Now deck by Gabrielle Bernstein. Let's do this here. Spirit, can you give me some messages for my wonderful Aquarian collective here? Messages for their answered question. I welcome abundance, and I will pay attention to the guidance I receive. Yes, absolutely. Please do. Whoa. There's like the Hermit card here, and that to me is wisdom, and the wisdom on the path, but then Judgment is here, which is a different kind of wisdom altogether, right? This wisdom is Pluto sort of whispering in your ear about transformation that you're either in the midst of. It's a very gentle tower, if I can say such thing. If I can say such a thing. Spirit, can I get just a message or two more here for Aquarius for this rewriting of their story? I love my food loves me. Now, this is about food, but the way I look at this card is also, I mean, this could relate to food, right? If you're, making shifts in your diet, if you're making shifts in your, in your pantry, that kind of thing, or if you're cooking more. But I love my food and my food loves me. I think this is an attitude of gratitude to have when we're considering what we nourish ourselves with in terms of food. But this is, for me, more about what we nourish ourselves with our thoughts, right? It's a well-known fact now that the gut is like a second brain. Your brain is in your brain is in your head, but your brain is also, it lives in your gut. So if you're out of balance, if you're not taking, if you're in Canada, something I often get from, Superstore or wherever PC products are sold, is BioK Plus in the rice form, the blueberry form, and it's a probiotic that immediately hits your gut. It immediately you feel better. It's like you can tell when your gut has been imbalanced. I'm not a doctor, so obviously check with that first, but that's a product that I use often, and even around cold and flu season, because your immune system also lives in your gut, right? So this is about nourishing your body, but also understanding that when you're stressed, there are signals that are sent to your gut from your brain and from your biochemical reaction to the thoughts that you're thinking that then affect your ability to even digest food. So it's things that are so intangible become tangible, Aquarius. So, I've had periods in my life of gastrosensitivity. So like I've done so much work to really understand all of these things and how this all works together, so that I can be my best version. So I'm sharing these things as little tips that I've used. And I think when it comes to gut health, there's very little that's more important, because you can eat some of the best food in the world. But if there's even just tiny microbial imbalances or pH imbalances in your gut, it can affect everything else. Everything else gets impacted. So in addition to thinking about this from the terms of nourishing your gut, I think this is also nourishing your mind too, right? And making sure that you're thinking nourishing thoughts that really bring together all of the things that you need to, in a way, it's like it's just sort of like putting the right kind of gas in your car, right? You can't run, unleaded in a diesel car. I mean, you can, but you will have very expensive repairs afterwards, right? It's understanding that dynamic. So Spirit, can I get some messages here? This is the Notes from the Universe on Love and Connection deck by Mike Dooley. Some notes here for Aquarius on rewriting this story. This may just be the foundational piece for you, Aquarius, in terms of like everything else builds up from here. Self-care starts with real, like, taking care of your health in little bits and pieces and in ways that you can, right? In ways that you can, and that you allow yourself to. Spirit, can I get some messages here for Aquarius? I'm rewriting this story. Prepare to be astounded. I love the energy of this card. I love it so much. Send them love, wish them peace, see them happy, everyone, always, forever, and prepare to be astounded. P.S. Oh man, and will you ever become a big-time manifester? Prepare to be astounded. Sometimes that starts with gratitude too, right? Just letting yourself sink into that moment and just be so grateful that it just blows your mind to bits and pieces with how excited and grateful you are for the day ahead, right? Let yourself be astounded when you sink into the awareness of where you are so completely that the light in it just absolutely washes over you. Sometimes the good is hidden. Yeah, you have to look for it sometimes. That's what I'm getting. Big vibes on that. And sometimes the good is hidden. Find the good in what they said or asked. It's always there, even if they didn't mean for it to be there. Sherlockly yours, the universe. P.S. Clues for what you want are hidden all around you. Sometimes the stuff you want is like right in front of you. Yeah. Sometimes. Brilliant. Aquarius, this is such a good reading. The energy on this is fantastic. I hope that you feel it, because I certainly feel it for you. If this resonated for you, please like and subscribe. It helps me to grow the channel, and I'm so grateful for all of the ways that everyone here is helping me to grow, and that I'm growing with you, and this is turning into kind of a little community that we got here. But yeah, Aquarius, if this is where we part, I hope that you. So, also, if you want to check out other things on the channel, do check out other videos. I've got different content offerings, other timeless readings as well. So, please check those out. If this is where we part, though, I wish you a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are on the time space continuum and this meets you. I hope that ultimately you have a wonderful day ahead that is filled with healing and all the light you can handle. All right, Aquarius, take care. See you on the next one.